Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Oh, so many things to look at that I keep finding in the news. There never seems to be a lack of information that's worthy of passing on, even on a Sunday. This is one of Anthony Pompliano from Morgan Creek has become one of my favorite guys to read his tweets. Even though he's mainly a Bitcoin guy, I believe that all these Bitcoin guys that are smart guys are secret XRP holders as well. He says, earlier this week, a crypto exchange revealed that they were unable to access 26,500 Bitcoin that were in their possession. That means there are 26,500 less Bitcoin available of the 21 million total created. Eventually, everyone will understand scarcity. Don't be one of the last ones. And like I've told you before, I own one Bitcoin because I don't want to be the guy that was there when it was all going on and didn't get at least one, because I believe that at some point in the next short number of years, I believe that having just one Bitcoin, you'll be in a pretty selective club. I don't believe you'll be able to get your hands on a Bitcoin, a full Bitcoin. And I think that that's where this is all going to go ultimately. But I think he's referring to that quote, I can't remember how to say it, but the Canadian exchange that lost all access to all the digital assets. But I had not seen this specific figure, 26,500 less BTC. And those are gone forever. If those private keys are gone, they're gone forever. And now it makes that Bitcoin investment that much better. Okay, he also today tweeted something very interesting. This will shock a lot of you. Now, think about this for a minute. The stock market has been on a 10-year bull run that has been pumped up by central banks around the world, keeping interest rates at artificially low levels, printing money, every kind of central bank trick that they've tried every kind of central bank trick you can think of, which has fueled the stock market going up. If there ever was a bubble, that's a bubble. But instead of that, they've been calling Bitcoin a bubble. Well, let's look at who has performed. This is even with all of the financial tricks that the central banks could do. 1%, a 1% Bitcoin allocation with 99% cash would have beat the S&P 500 over the last 10 years. Now that's an amazing thing. It'd be interesting to see. I bet if you chose Bitcoin, it would be an even larger. Bitcoin alone, like 100% Bitcoin, probably has really smoked the market. But if this is what he said, this was Pompliano who referred to that tweet. Holding 99% cash and 1% Bitcoin over the last 10 years was a better investment than investing in the greatest stock market bull run in history. Crypto will outperform stocks for the next 10 years too. He says it right out. I agree with him 100%. Okay, moving along. Computer wants to slow down on me. It's coming. Oh yes, XRP Yoda. And he now has a cigarette in his mouth. I like this, with sunglasses. Now this is interesting. This was a tweet from today, I guess, yes. If you took $1 billion, I wanted to illustrate a point here. If you took $1 billion in a time machine back to January 1st, 1 AD, and burned $1,000 every single day from that moment until today, you'd still have over $250 million left right now. $1,000 per day for 737,451 days. That's how much $1 billion is. And so my question, $1 billion is that much illustrated right there. So the question you need to ask yourself, if you couldn't even spend $1 billion in that long of a period of time, how long do you think it would take the United States to pay off $21.9 trillion in debt. And the answer is, like I've told you several times before, they can't pay it off and they won't pay it off. This, in my opinion, ultimately ends in cryptocurrencies changing the entire world. It could also end in a combination of something like that, a World War III, but it doesn't end well. And in my opinion, being an owner, having a lot of your money parked in digital assets is going to, when this all becomes the disaster that it will become, you will be in the 1% wealthiest people in the entire world, because you would have been in the right place at the right time under these ridiculous circumstances that these central banks around the world and politicians have put us in. Okay, moving along. Next, I wanted to show you this. My computer is doing the Sunday slowdown. This is the blog from Hoder today. He did a crypto Superbowl, and I have not, I'm going to tell you right up front, I have not gone through this whole article, but he was doing an analysis of consensus versus proof of work. And all I've really looked at closely, I just wanted you to be aware that he had put the blog out here more than anything. But he's done a chart where it compares XRP to Bitcoin, level of decentralization, relying on trust, security. He tells you that Bitcoin's vulnerable to 51% attacks, the speed of XRP. There's not anything about XRP that's not better than Bitcoin from a technological standpoint. There's just not, and there's nothing that they can say to get around this. That's the fact. That's the reason that all of the attacks on XRP don't ever have anything to do with the technological aspect of XRP, because it's a superior technology. It just is, and all the Bitcoin people know it. Bitcoin is only still there because it was the first, and it's being adopted by Wall Street. That's the only reason I own one. Okay, this from ATL XRP at OSEOSHEA, and he showed something I had not seen. He said, this is new to me. Didn't realize so many from Congress were involved. And I didn't even realize they had a website. There's a website, Congressional Blockchain Caucus. And he looked up and found the members. These are the people that are working to help to pass laws favorable to blockchain. And you can go and check them out. It's Congressional Blockchain Caucus.com. There is a congressional, I think they call it the Congressional Black Caucus, but this is the Congressional Blockchain Caucus, and it's got all the information you can want, what they're focused on, the events. I mean, I'm sure that, but anyway, you can go and look at the members and the contact information and contact all these people and show your support. This is a very important thing for us as digital asset holders. Let's see next what we have here. The old computer. Oh, I wanted to show you this. I don't know if it's been mentioned, if anybody knows yet, but the Chamber of Digital Commerce, I guess this is in Washington, D.C. Brad Garlinghouse is going to be at the D.C. Blockchain Summit 2019. I'm dying to go to one of these. I have responsibilities with children and that type of thing, so I don't get to go and do things like this as often as I would like to. But pretty soon I'm going to go hit one of these blockchain summits. I wouldn't mind shaking some hands and meeting some of these people. I've never met anyone from Ripple, and I wouldn't mind meeting some of these guys and meeting other people in the industry and just finding out what's going on. Finally, I wanted to give a shout out and a thank you. This girl, she calls herself at British Girl XRP. She's in the XRP community. Go follow her. It's Dari. She says, tipping for the first time. You are my favorite YouTuber. You make bleak days far better. Thank you. And I really do appreciate these kind of comments. Are, for me, I realize that a lot of people, this might be their first bear market in the crypto space. And so I try my best to to relay to all of you and make you understand how positive I am. And I'm about to tell you why I'm so positive. One of the reasons that I stay so positive, and it's straight from the mouth of a venture capitalist who is plugged in and knows far more than we do about what's going on. But I really appreciate the tip. I wanted to give you this quote, Dari, and that is, everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. This is the way life works. You have to go through risks and fear in order to get to things that you would otherwise never have access to, whether it's riches or some goal that feels like it's beyond your reach. It's how it works. Higher risk, higher possible return. That's the way life works. But I really appreciate the tip, and thank you for the kind words. Okay, now I want to show you, I want to put this in perspective. There's a reason that a lot of people ask all the time how I can stay so positive. And the real reason that I can stay so positive is kind of what Dan Moorhead says in this article right here. And I'll get to what he says, but I want to describe to you, and I've described it on this channel before. I first invested in crypto in 2013, and then we had a major crash, and I just kind of forgot about it, and I thought, well, I guess I was wrong. And then it came back, okay, and then I still kind of thought, well, you know, this isn't serious business, because back then everything was talked about negative. All we ever heard was China's going to ban Bitcoin, and I thought that it was just a matter of time. I guess the U.S. could just ban this, and they weren't going to let it happen. That's what the vibe felt like. Then along comes around 2014 to 2015 is when I really thought that I had just been wrong about all this, because we had a prolonged bear market that lasted like I don't know if it was over a year or just over a year, but it seemed like this had all finally died. I remember it like it was yesterday, because Ripple used to have rippletrade.com, and I don't know what they were thinking about doing, but you used to be able to store your XRP at Ripple. Well, they announced that they were getting rid of Ripple Trade, and that they told everybody that had their digital asset, their XRP on Ripple Trade, that you need to go and put it somewhere else because we're shutting down Ripple Trade. Well, that's the point that I really thought that this is and I thought Ripple had given up. I thought that this whole digital asset thing was over and that I had been wrong. So I sent mine off to where they recommended, which I'm drawing a blank on where I think it was GitHub that they said, I think that was where they said they recommended that you send it. So mine went, and I put mine on GitHub, and it sat there during that prolonged bear market. And one fine day, and it was after a good year plus or something, one fine day I woke up and I just read something in the news that said XRP was on a tear, and I looked at it. From that day until today, I've been following it, and during that period of time is when I finally realized that my wildest dreams were going to become a reality, because Wall Street was going all in. That's when I began to really see that they were going to take this serious, and that was the ultimate. I knew that if that ever would happen, that's where that then it would all happen, and everything I thought this could be was going to be. And that's how I came to this. That's why I'm so positive. That's why I come on here every day. But when I see tweets like that, I can tell that people need some kind of reassurance. But believe me, I believe, and it took me a lot of not believing to get to the point where I believe, because there were much darker days than you're seeing now. Now you can see it all coming. You couldn't see that before. It was just a maybe or a pipe dream back then. It was what all my hopes and dreams were, but I can see them coming into reality now. I can read articles where they are coming into reality, whether it's backed, Fidelity, you name it. German exchanges, German stock exchanges, opening crypto exchanges. It's happening. This is real. Now let me read for you a little bit of what this is. Pantera Capital, Dan Moorhead, the CEO. He says, this is actually our second crypto winner, Moorhead said to Laura Shin's podcast Unconfirmed. There was one in 2014 to 2015. In the previous one, I had more of a worry in the pit of my stomach about whether blockchain was actually going to work. There were real regulatory risks. See, that's what, and this is me talking now, that's what I'm referring to. And he's saying the same thing. This is the reason my channel's here, is because I was right where he was. I was wondering if today, back then I was wondering, is today the day that the U.S. government's just going to ban this and it's not going to be a thing? That's what it was like back then. You don't have that worry now. It's just a matter of time now. Okay, then he says, with this one, the underlying felt with this one, in other words, the bear market we're in. No, I'm sorry. He's talking about the other one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm going backwards on what I'm saying. This is his quote, and he's referring to this bear market versus what we went through back in 2014. With this one, the underlying fundamentals are much, much stronger than they were in the 2014-2015 crypto winter. People have been talking for years about the impending institutional wave of money coming into the crypto market, Moorhead recounted. I think we now have the required conditions for that to happen. Institutional investors really want to have a custodian that is well known and regulated. We really haven't had that in the past. The SEC is in the middle of figuring out what standards to set on what things should be securities and what won't be. He says in the next 6 to 9 months, that will be sorted out. Once it is clear, it'll be easier for exchanges and investors to know how to handle these types of assets. I think in the next 9 months, that will be sorted out. And then this tweet from Michael Novogratz, who runs a crypto hedge fund. If I can get my slow computer to get this going. He hasn't tweeted in a while, but he says, realizing having tweeted about crypto in a while, it's a grind. Don't think we head north for at least a few more months. Always take longer for institutions to move. Very confident they will. Tons of activity under the hood. Stay the course. And that's what I say, folks. Stay the course, because it's coming. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family to stay the course. Thank you for listening.